nibblers. I declined. The rabbit selected a chunky specimen for himself and gnawed at it noisily, freckling his chin with tiny orange chips that flaked off in the gap between his front incisors. "About a year ago, the DeGreasy Brothers, the cartoon syndicate, told me that if I signed with them, they would give me my own strip." He laid his half-eaten carrot on an end table beside a display of framed and autographed photos, some human, some Toon. They included Snoopy, Joe Namath, Beetle Bailey, John F. Kennedy, and in a group shot, Dick Tracy, Secret Agent X9, and J. Edgar Hoover. "Instead, they made me a second banana to a dopey, obese, thumb-sucking sniveler named Baby Herman." "So find yourself another syndicate." "I can't." The rabbit's face collapsed. "My contract binds me to the DeGreasys for another 20 years. When I asked them to release me so I could look for work elsewhere, they refused." "They give you any reason?" "None. Being somewhat an amateur private eye myself, I did some legwork." He displayed a hind limb that would have looked exceptionally good dangling from the end of a keychain. "I nosed around the industry and uncovered a rumor that someone wants to buy out my contract and give me a starring role, but the DeGreasys refuse to sell. I want you to find out what's going on. If the DeGreasys won't star me, why won't they deal me away?" Sounded horribly boring, but one more look at his check convinced me to at least go through the motions. I hauled out my notebook and pen. Normally, I would have asked some questions about his background and personal life, but since I only intended to give this case a lick and a promise anyway, why bother? I asked for the DeGreasy's address, and he rattled it off. "I'll stay in touch," I promised on my way out. "See you in the funny papers," joked the rabbit. I didn't smile. 2. I stopped off at a newsstand and bought a candy bar for lunch and a paper to read while I ate it, making sure to get a receipt for my expense report. I turned to the comic section and found the Baby Herman strip. The rabbit appeared in one panel out of the 4, barely visible behind the smoke and flame of an exploding cigar given him by Baby Herman. I folded the paper shut. Hardly an earth-shaking caper, this one. A fast buck and not much more. But what did I expect? Hobnobbing with a rabbit only gets you to Wonderland in fairy tales. I met the DeGreasy Brothers, Rocco and Dominic, in their offices high atop one of LA's most prestigious skyscrapers. The two were human, although almost comical in their marked resemblance to one another. Their ridged foreheads formed a wobble of demarcation between bowl-shaped haircuts and frizzy eyebrows. Their noses would have looked perfect behind a chrome horn bolted to the handlebars of a bicycle. Smudgy mustaches curtained their circular porthole mouths. Their biceps looked to be half the size of their forearms, and they had feet large enough to cut 15 seconds off any duck's time in the 100-meter freestyle. Had the DeGreasy boys been discovered frozen beneath some Arctic tundra, a good case would probably have been made for them being the long-sought missing link between humans and Toons. But, as funny as they looked, when I checked them out, they had come up professional and efficient, the most astute guys in the comic strip business. I gave my card to Rocco, the eldest, who passed it across his handsome antique desk to his brother Dominic. Not wanting to spend a minute longer than necessary on this case, I came straight to the point. I told them Roger Rabbit had hired me to find out why they refused to honor their contractual obligation to star him in a strip of his own. Rocco chuckled, then scowled, the way a father might when he sees his youngster do something irritating but cute. "Let me explain our position with regard to Roger Rabbit," he said, without the slightest trace of rancor. His precise manner of speech and his 6-bit vocabulary gave me quite a surprise. From his looks, I expected Goofy, but got Owen Cantrell, Wall Street lawyer, instead. "My brother Dominic and I signed Roger specifically because we felt he would play well as a foil for Baby Herman. We never made any mention of a solo strip then."